So 3 months ago I, 21F, went out to a club as it was student night, which means £2.50 drinks. I went out with a big group of girls. While out I met M, 23M. I don't remember exactly how or why we started talking, but he was talking to me and my friend, and while we were talking he realized his friend had walked off, so me and my friend told him to stay with us and hang out. We ended up spending the rest of our time there with him, and though he was talking to my friend too, me and him really clicked well. We were both in relationships though and made it clear this wasn't some hookup thing, even showing each other pics of our partners. But as the night went on and we got drunker, I admit it sort of feel like our interactions did sort of border on flirty. Some examples are: 1. If we're walking through our crowded area we would hold hands so we didn't get separated. 2. I danced with him a lot, again holding hands, no grinding or anything. 3. I did hug him a lot, and at one point he picked me up during a hug and I wrapped my legs around him and this caused my skirt to roll up, and he rolled it back down for me when he put me down. 4. I pretended to be his GF to get rid of a girl who was pestering him by saying, "Could you not flirt with my boyfriend?" and kissing him on the cheek and then holding onto his. 5. At the end of the night when I had to leave, I hugged him goodbye, and we sort of accidentally kissed. By that I mean we both tried to kiss each other on the cheek at the same time and our lips touched. This was an accident and we both apologized and it was awkward. The week after, me and him ended up texting quite regularly, and we arranged, it was my idea, to have both our friend groups meet, so we could hang out again, and we had good chemistry so we thought our friends probably would too. Well, it went great, and now our friend groups are mixed and I have a bunch of new friends. 2 of his friends have ended up dating 2 of my friends, one of them even being BF and GF. Unfortunately though, my boyfriend was less than happy about M. He didn't like that we texted, he hated the story of how we met, which I got as I can see how from the outside it looks sus even though our intentions were innocent. I did introduce the 2 of them, and they seemed to get on well and were laughing around together, but then later that night my BF started slagging him off for no reason, which caused me to argue because he was being fake. About 2 weeks ago, M broke up with his GF. I'm not sure the exact details, I think they just sort of fizzled out due to being at different stages in life. She wanted kids, he wasn't ready. When my BF found out, he told me he didn't want me to text or be friends with him anymore, as he was now single. I said I'm not going to cut him off when he's going through a hard time, and that the idea that I now all of a sudden can't be friends with someone just because they are single is ridiculous. My BF wouldn't accept that and said if I carried on being friends with him, he would break up with me, so I broke up with him then and there as I was tired of him acting jealous and controlling. On Thursday, I got a text from my friend who was in a relationship with one of M's friends. She said her, and my other friend, who's dating one of his friends, were going to London on Friday for a trip, and asked if me and M wanted to come. I texted him and he said his friend had asked him the same question, and we both agreed we'd go. When we got there things were different than I anticipated and it definitely felt like a triple date. We did mini golf, and then went to food and a cocktail bar, and at the end of the night we decided to stay in London as we didn't manage to fit in everything we wanted to do. We all got hotel rooms, and me and M got one too, with 2 beds in the room. However, we ended up sharing a bed and making out a bit. The next day we went out to Camden Food Market, and then to Babylon Park, a giant arcade. We decided to stay another night, and this time me and M had to get a room with 1 bed as there was no double rooms. We went to a club and then back to the room. I ended up giving him head, but that was it. The next morning I woke up to 50 messages from my ex, calling me a liar and a cheat and saying he knew that I was away on a triple date. I told him I was single and could do what I want. He kept accusing me of cheating with M, saying it's weird after a 3-year relationship for me to move on in 2 weeks with a guy we had fought about and who I said wasn't a problem. I told him M wasn't the problem, he was the problem, and that if he hadn't been so jealous none of this would have happened. He kept accusing me of gaslighting him, and just being dramatic, so I blocked him. I told M and the 2 couples we were with and they said he was just being pathetic and that everything was above board, but some of our other friends say I'm wrong for moving on so soon and with M. Am I? Update, November 13th, 2023. So yesterday me and M went for a late meal, 8 p.m.-ish, and had a talk. We agreed that we both really like each other, and want to give it a shot, so we have decided to be exclusive while we see where this goes. He stayed round mine last night, and I did sleep with him. It was amazing. I am seriously happy, and excited for the future. Afterwards we spontaneously booked a holiday to Cyprus, just the 2 of us, and we leave on Monday. He is half Greek Cypriot, half Jamaican, and has a villa out there, so we just needed flights. As for my 2 friends who thought I should have waited, I drafted a text, with help from a user in DMs, and sent it to them both in a group chat. It says, "Hi girls. I know you have been disappointed in my actions, and feel it was a bad look to move on so quickly. I know you care deeply about me, and just want what's best for me and for me to make good decisions for myself. I do feel like I want to clear up what happened a little / my thought process. What you need to understand is, in the moment of the ultimatum, I saw 2 paths ahead of me. One where I spend the rest of my 20s in Jay's bedroom, watching him smoke weed and play Xbox, begging him to go on a date, and only getting attention when he wants sex. Then I saw one where I stayed friends with M, And we all got to hang out as a big group, and go to events, go play golf, go on our holidays etc. I knew then and there that the relationship was done.
I didn't just choose M over J, I chose this life, where we all get to hang out together and actually live and have fun versus just me and J sitting in and doing nothing all the time.
It wasn't just a choice between M and J, it was a choice of all of you, and the life we've built these last few months versus J. As for how quickly I moved on, you both know I had been unhappy for a long time, and there was only so long that I could beg for him to change before giving up. To you, it might seem like I lost my feelings for him overnight, but truthfully, this has been building since the start of this year. I have begged, pleaded, cried for him to change, and unfortunately he never did. All he ever wanted to do is smoke weed and that was it. By the time he threatened to end it, I had already mourned the relationship 100 times. He had already spent all my tears. He had already drained me emotionally. And I had no more emotions left to give him. Breaking up with him wasn't heartbreaking, it was liberating. That is why I did not feel the need to wait. I love you both so much, and I hope you can be happy for me, but if not, that is your decision. My friends replied and said they know that I was unhappy, and that they think I made the right decision, and that they're happy for me. They said sorry for coming across as judgmental, that it wasn't their intention and they were just worried I was making a rash decision. We are all meeting tonight, just us girls, and we're going out for a meal and some drinks and put all this behind us for good. Then I'll be going to M's for the first time, to meet his parents, which I'm excited about. My ex is staying blocked, and I doubt I'll ever see or hear from him again as he never leaves his room, so that is the end of that, and I'm closing that miserable chapter of my life for good. Thank you for everyone who gave me helpful advice. Thank you for the u/new_rule_556 who DM'd me, and helped me draft that message, and thank you even to all the haters, who helped me practice fleshing out my beliefs/reasonings and defend my actions. Without you I wouldn't have found the words for that text. I doubt I'll use this account again, as I got what I wanted from it. Goodbye Reddit. Now on to other story. Story 2. My, M50, wife, F48, abandoned me 2 months ago to find herself. My wife Mary's family has a history of dementia, developing memory issues in their mid to late 50s. Her mom, grandmother and several other relatives on her mom's side have developed dementia. Her mom lived with us for 4 years until earlier this year. Father is dead. Our kids are independent and out of the house. Oldest is in her last semester of college and the younger enlisted. The last 4 years were tough on us, our kids. Daughter moved for college but moved back for a bit during COVID, and our marriage. Living with someone with dementia is brutal. We had talked a lot the last year about taking the remaining college funds, our regular savings, sell or rent the house. We were ready to downsize anyway, quit our jobs and travel for a year or until the money runs out. We just had to wait for her mom to move into a home. I understand her anxiety about developing dementia and I was burned out. You live through COVID working remote, a wife working remote, a college and high school student taking remote classes, and a mill with dementia and see how you hold up. Space finally opened up and we were able to move her mom into a care facility. I finally thought I had a chance to breathe. When we moved Mary's mom out, Mary's mental health took huge downward spiral. I went from caring for her mom to caring for her. She felt guilty about putting her mom in a home and had lots of anxiety about developing dementia. Our plan was to start our traveling summer 2024. 2 months ago I get home and she's left a note. My friends call it Exhibit A. Basically she was going on our trip without me. She had quit her job, took most of the savings, and wasn't sure when she'd be back. Maybe a year, maybe sooner. She knew I'd understand. Her location is turned off and my calls go directly to VM. I texted the kids a picture of the note. We have our own checking accounts for direct deposits of our paychecks, but we'd transfer most into a joint account to pay the household bills and savings. We both had access to main savings account. We have joint credit cards we used for household expenses. The 2 cars and mortgage are joint. We both also have our own small savings accounts, our own retirement accounts, equally funded, and our own credit cards for gifts and fun things. I closed all joint cards and accounts. I waited a month to see if she'd come back, hopefully before she spent our savings. After receiving only 1 text the first month, I went to a lawyer. She basically said there was very little to do right now, other than change the beneficiaries of my retirement accounts and life insurance. Yay, my wife gets nothing else if I die alone while she's having our adventures. It was only a month and there was no way to serve her papers. My lawyer advised me to keep paying the mortgage and the cars. The cost of trying to get a judge to approve the sale of joint assets was more than making payments. I didn't want to ruin my credit by letting one of our car get repossessed, but I can't sell it because she's on the title. I get random texts and she sporadically posts on Instagram. Of course she has comments turned off. I want to block her so bad, but my lawyer advised me that it's better to maintain a communication channel that's not through our kids. Her last post was from Hawaii. She put in the comments how great a husband I was for letting her take this trip. I'm barely making it paying 2 cars, a mortgage, household bills, insurance, hoping there are no emergencies because I have no savings, and she's enjoying our trip. Fair. I'm so pissed at her. I helped take care of her mom for 4 years, and her when she fell apart after her mom moved into a memory care home, and she returns the favor by abandoning me. I'll never get to take this trip and have to put off retirement. My only solace is the kids are pissed at her, but they'll probably forgive her eventually. Double F her. I'm no fool, she's hooking up with guys. She looks good, she'll have zero problem getting men. I texted her and asked if she was sleeping around. A week later she responded that she wasn't sure. So, I'm drinking alone on a Friday night and she's somewhere, probably on a beach, enjoying life. Triple F her. Edit 2. My lawyer has given me a bunch of advice and options. It was just way more than I could possibly include in this post. I could definitely push the issue harder, and I might need to at some point, but all that work is very expensive. Finding her, serving her, getting a judge to sign off, that's not cheap. I'm following up soon and I plan on talking about the savings and my finances. Until I paid all the bills and realized how little was left, it didn't hit me that I had to worry about money. Relevant comments that the op replied. King_of_leprechauns, thanking you for letting her take this trip is basically her saying when I get through living the single life, I'll be coming back to the comfort and security of married life. When she returns, I'd say welcome home, here are your walking papers. OP, she 100% is under the delusion that she's coming back to a marriage. She's had a few conversations with our daughter and she's convinced I'll understand and forgive her. Naive_subject_65. Tell your daughter to pass along the message that you're filing for divorce for abandonment and see if this gets you some traction. I don't generally like the idea of going through kids, but they need to have your back on this. Maybe even tell her they'll cut her off as well if she keeps doing this to you and the family. Maybe even start posting about how she's living the good life and letting your friends and family know what kind of pickle this has put you in. Everyone probably assumes you're on board if you're not purposefully driving the true narrative. OP, she only hears what she wants. I asked her to send me an address to serve her papers. She only told me that we'll work it out when she comes home. The F we will. My daughter tells her all the pain she's causing, but she just says that she only has 5 to 10 years left until she gets dementia. It's impossible to know if she'll even develop dementia, but shouldn't she be spending this with her family? Update, November 13, 2023. An update from my original post. I'm feeling much more positive now that the financial situation has become a little more manageable. Basically, I'm running up debt that will get paid off when I sell the house. Even with lawyer fees, I have 6 to 8 more months before I have to worry about money, assuming there are no emergencies. My friend's wife gave me some good advice. Don't go from being a hero to a villain in your kids' eyes. How I talk about and treat my wife will determine my future relationship with my kids. I don't give a damn about my wife, but I don't want to make her a sympathetic figure or drive them away from both of us. I followed up with the lawyer. Basically, she said we're going to have her pay back the savings she took through a reduction in her share of the assets. Any division of assets will include the savings she took. She'll also have to repay the money I spent maintaining the household while she was gone. There is plenty of equity in her share of the house and her retirement plans to cover that. She said that our finances are so intertwined after nearly 25 years of marriage, my wife is going to get some share of the assets. Best case is she agrees to the terms of the divorce and it's relatively cheap and quick. Otherwise it gets complicated and expensive. She gave me a lot of options and how much I can expect to spend, so I decided to just mostly wait. I got a couple of credit cards with promo rates for purchases and transfers. That gives me breathing room and I can conserve cash. I'll just pay them off when I sell the house. Now that my financial situation is less stressful, I'm actually enjoying her being gone. I'm free to do whatever I want, whenever. I don't have to cook or clean or take care of anyone. The house is quiet for the first time I can remember. I loved my wife, but her mental health weighed down our marriage. On balance, it was worth it until now. The first month or so I expected her to be there whenever I'd get home. When someone was at the door or if I heard noises, I'd think it was her. I'd check doorbell cam obsessively. I'm not looking forward to her returning. It has to happen, but when she comes back I'll have to deal with her, the divorce, getting the house ready to sell, dividing all our stuff, finding a new place to live. I'm hoping she'll stay away until after New Year's, but my daughter said she thinks her mom will be home for Christmas, either to stay or visit. My lawyer will have papers ready to serve her. Hopefully she'll just agree to the terms and continue her travels. People had some great advice. Renting or selling the house, not really feasible right now since I'd have to fix some stuff and get it ready to sell/rent. Since I need a place to live, the amount I net each month, rent, mortgage, rent on a new apartment, storage unit equals not worth it. My kids' rooms are still full of their stuff and I don't want to spend the time and effort to clear them out and put them in storage. Getting a helic. This was great advice. I didn't realize I didn't need both people to get a loan. If I need more money I can go this way. In the short term, the promo rates on the credit cards were cheaper and easier than getting a helic. Serving my wife divorce papers or getting a divorce in absentia. This is something I might need to do eventually. But the cost in lawyer fees goes up exponentially in cases like this. I'm comfortable just waiting for now. Look at the phone bill to see where she's at and possibly going. I did look at her usage and did notice that she doesn't post on social media until after she leaves a place. Like when she posted about Hawaii, she made a call that day that originated in Los Angeles. She posted about a cruise and I figured out the dates, trying to serve her at the port possibly, but it ended a couple of days before she posted. She tried adding international calling to her line, but I blocked it, so she removed her phone from our account. Relevant comments that the op replied. ZL the pin, oh my gosh, I am infuriated on your behalf. The audacity of my husband is so great for letting me take this trip. The petty in me hopes she'll be home for Thanksgiving because I want her world to explode. OP, she's told her family she won't be home for Thanksgiving. Nobody told her my daughter and I are spending Thanksgiving with her family, though. She can see the posts of us having a good time without her. Oldgirl_misp, please change the locks on the house so she can't just waltz back in while you are out one day. I'm so angry for you. I've been married for 23 years and if my husband did this to me, God help anyone between me and him. OP, she left her keys. I changed the code on the security system, the passphrase, and password. I also found a new hiding place for the emergency key we had in the backyard. Love being an asshole, so she's just going to blow through all the money and then assumes you'll take her back and care for her when dementia hits her? OP, seems to be her plan, but it's not mine.